Hey guys, it's your girl CK here, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. And on this channel we feature travel vlogs and also video recipes, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So today I'll be making pork chops, which is quite simple, and hopefully you have all these ingredients. Guys, so these pork chops were actually purchased from Gilani's butchery, and I started off by discarding the original packaging it was wrapped in the newspaper. You know how our local butcheries do. And then I'm going to transfer the pork chops into a clean container where I'm going to work on it. And then I'm going to follow in by cleaning my pork chops, and by doing that I'll start off by washing off the sink properly, ensuring there's no dirt or germs, because different cuts of meat can be highly sensitive and you need to be careful. Then I'm going to dry off all the pork chops with clean paper towels so that when I'm seasoning, the seasoning cannot get diluted, and we need the pork chops properly dried up and
so now I've finished showing you how I've washed, and then I've portioned them in 2 different bowls. So now let's marinate. I'm just going to flip over the camera so I can be explaining what I'm doing as we get along.
With me I have 2 different bowls because I'm dealing with a large quantity of meat. So for marinating, I'm going to be putting the same portions in each. I started off with Royco cube for each container, followed in by cumin in each container because we need the marination to balance, of course. Then I'm going to go in with my ginger powder. If you have fresh ginger, you can use that. You can grate and remove the skin. Then I'm going to follow in by my garlic powder. Then I go in with a little bit of Spanish paprika. You know, you can play around with the spices that you have. You don't have to limit them to what I have used. A bit of black pepper because, you know, we can have the pork chops all dry and not tasty and yummy, you know. Then you need to rub in the marination properly. Just show it some love, you know, so that the marination can go into the meats. Do that for both, and you don't actually have to add any oil. Don't worry, at this point it might actually look like the marination is not going into the pork chops, but it actually is, you know, because there's a lot of marbling and the pork already has a lot of fat. So don't worry about adding oil or anything. As you can see, you continue mixing that in and the marination does actually go in properly. So don't you worry about that. Next, hygiene. Always remember to clean as you go. I scrubbed with some brush because I don't need the spices to go underneath my fingernails. Then I'm going to transfer the pork chops into a baking tin, line that with foil paper because I do not want my pork chops to stick on the baking tin. As you can see, it's properly marinated. I'm now going to cover that in, and I need to properly seal the edges so that no air can go in through the sides, as we want it to also cook with the steam and the heat that is inside the oven. Into my preheated oven. I'm just adjusting the temperatures because you can preheat with a lower temperature and then increase the temperature once you want to start now baking your pork chops. In goes my pork chops, and then now we proceed to making the sauces that are going to accompany it. So for today I'm going to be making a homemade barbecue sauce, and I want to infuse it with pineapple. So it's going to be a pineapple barbecue sauce. Yes. So I start off by chopping my pineapple into cubes, which I'm going to use later. I'll set that aside, and the other ingredients that I'm going to be using to make the barbecue sauce, I need to chop up my onions, my garlic, my ginger, and Please ignore my confusion of using the knives. Guys, did you know that the best way to peel ginger is actually with a spoon? You just wash it and you peel it with a spoon. That way you avoid a lot of wastages, unlike using a knife. So this is me prepping all the ingredients that I'm going to be using to make the homemade barbecue sauce, which I'm going to infuse with ginger and pineapple. That's also coriander. If you have any other herb that you prefer to use, you could also use that. And that's the pineapple that I blended. So we start off by making the sauce. In your heated pan, just add salt and black pepper. Add a bit of add your onions, ginger and garlic. Stir that in, and you can let that cook for a while until it's completely translucent. Add in your herbs and let that cook. You can actually see how the onions have become translucent, which means it's actually cooked to the way I want. You can use any other kind of herb actually if you want. If you have rosemary, or are you a dill person? Do you prefer cilantro? So for me, I used coriander, and that's what I'm going to be using today. And then I'm going to add in my blended pineapple, as I showed you before. If you want, you can also add mango if you prefer mango than pineapple. Then I'm going to add in my ketchup. I actually mix it with a bit of tomato sauce because I was running a bit out of ketchup. So, but if you want it to be more thick and like the authentic barbecue sauce, just add more ketchup. Then I added soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of honey. You know, we gotta make this barbecue. With this economy, we cannot be affording to buy everything from the supermarket. We need to be innovative and use our ingredients that we have at home. And you can actually come up with something yummy that you can make and everyone is going to love. You know, like it's homemade. It's yum. So we mix that in. I'm going to stir all the ingredients in as I taste whether the seasoning is in correctly. Yes. So guys, don't put a lot of honey because the ketchup that you're going to put actually has a bit of sugar, so we don't want to overdo it, as also the pineapple is sweet. We're going to cover, lower our heat, and let that simmer for 10 minutes. And as you can see, the sauce is getting thicker. It's getting thicker. Don't worry about all the lumps that you can see from everything that we're going to use, because once this is cooked to the thickness that we want, we are gonna let this cool down and blend it. So we need to check our barbecue ribs after 1 hour, how they're proceeding, and see if it's cooked or if it's not cooked, if we need to increase the temperature. For mine, they were done up to the doneness that I'll proceed to take my pork chops, and you know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm going to use my pork chops. It's not yet completely cooked to the doneness that I want, but I'm going to put that back into the oven. What I need to do at this point, I need to take the barbecue sauce that I had made earlier, and I need to smear it on the pork chops. So for me, what I'm doing now, I'm just going to like flip over the pork chops if I see that maybe one side is more brown, because you know, like maybe the baking tin might be hot on the bottom. So I can just flip that so that it can be brown on both the sides. Next, I'm going to take my barbecue sauce, the one that I made. I blended it, of course, as I had told you before. And then I smeared that in all over the pork chops, because that's the flavor we want to infuse into our pork chops, of course. And if you want to use this sauce actually for a later date, maybe you want to keep it like maybe as a dressing in a salad maybe, or you want to use it as a dipping sauce for any kinds of meat that you want, you can divide that in another container and store it in your fridge. I'll cover up my pork chops and then I'll put them back into the oven and let that cook for another maybe 40-30 minutes, and it's going to be up to the doneness that we want. So this is the pork chops. after putting the barbecue sauce and putting it back into the oven. You can see now it has become like really well done the way I had wanted, and the pineapple barbecue sauce is well infused inside. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to transfer it into my hot pot, which you're going to have later on with the family. And yes,
this vlog as much as I did, and I hope to see you guys in the next vlog, and thank you for subscribing. Bye.